Beautiful blue sky overhead. It's game 2 between the Orioles and the White Sox from U.S. Cellular Field on a lovely Saturday evening in Chicago. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. Baltimore's in town with some muscle, some power, 163 home runs, the most in Major League Baseball.
Last night it was Pedro Alvarez. He hit a couple of home runs. He's not playing tonight because Rodon is on the mound, but we'll take a look at the Oriole power, and there was certainly enough of it. This team up and down through the lineup will hit the ball out of the ballpark and consistently does just that. They play in a home run hitter's park, but it plays when they go on the road. As you can see, Major League home run leaders from 2000 to the present, Chris Davis is on top. Adam Jones is 9th. Mark Trumbo is 12th. Pedro Alvarez is 16th. They're all going to move up on that list because these guys continue to hit it. And one of our guys hitting it is Jose Abreu. He's 4 for his last 9 over the last couple of games. He's homered in each of them, driving in 3, scoring 3. And hopefully he's getting hot. And with that, the whole offense will get hot with him.
So the question is, who are the gentlemen trying to slow down those offenses, Mr. Stone?
Lefty against a righty, 2 good young pitchers on the hill. We'll look at Carlos Rodon first. In his last time out against Minnesota, he didn't fare very well. He gave up 5 runs. He did strike out 7, however, in 6 1/3 innings. And Don Cooper said he saw some pretty good signs. He would like him to be a little more aggressive early in the count, but he's back off the disabled list and hopefully healthy. Chris Tillman goes to the mound. He's 14-3 this year, had a remarkable year, and he's done a good job against our Sox lifetime. He got a no decision last time out against the Blue Jays. Threw the ball pretty well, but not much to show for it. Overall, it's been a terrific year. Against our Sox, he's 3-1, 3.29 ERA lifetime. Against the Orioles, Carlos Rodon has had a tough time, 4.85, and he's 0-2. Looking for his first win, but they haven't hit him very well, as a 2.35 batting average against would indicate. Hopefully tonight he'll have good stuff.
Sox are trying to make sure they split the first 2 in this series, and first pitch from U.S. Cellular Field is just around the corner. Chicago White Sox baseball is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. Honda, get the Honda you love at the Honda Summer Clearance Event, now at your Honda dealer. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Ford, America's best-selling brand 6 years running, inviting you to check out our fuel-efficient lineup at your local Ford store or at buyfordnow.com. And by your Chicago and Northwest Indiana Hyundai dealers. Test drive their all-star lineup today. Visit buyhyundai.com. Getting ready for game 2 of a 3-game series from U.S. Cellular Field. Tim Anderson, first 47 games as a White Sox player, has 18 multi-hit efforts, but only 2 walks, something that Robin Ventura says can develop.
Probably be hard to think of that happening right like today, but hopefully in the future he can do that. I don't expect him, to just automatically do that overnight, but I think the more he's here and the more he plays, he has the potential to do that. He's aggressive swinger, but he does have a good eye, and I think he's a guy that can learn how to do that.
As we bring Steve Stone back in, how does a player go about doing something like that, change that tendency?
Robin is going out on a limb saying that he has the potential to take more walks, because with 2 walks and 201 at bats, you figure, yes, he has a chance to walk more. He can hardly walk any less. But I don't think you want to take his aggressiveness away. That's one thing. You don't change him until he completely fails. If he doesn't fail, and could very well be that he goes on to hit 300, then you just leave him alone. This is a guy going to swing at just about everything. There's a lot of hitters that do that in the major leagues. He will learn, though, with a nose-to-toe strike zone, you better not miss your pitch when you get it.
Sox and Orioles coming up. Tim Anderson is back in the lineup after being hit by a pitch a couple of days ago. Carlos Rodon takes the hill after this. Home for the most live sports. White Sox have taken the field, and we have starting lineups for you, specifically those scrawled out by Buck Showalter, the 7th-year manager of the Baltimore Orioles. Adam Jones had 3 hits last night of the Orioles' 16. Steve Pearce is in after being recently traded over here. Reimold gets to start, so does Caleb Joseph behind the plate, in for Matt Wieters.
Let's take a look at the defense and how Robin is going to line them up tonight. Familiar outfield, Melky Cabrera, Adam Eaton in center field, where he has to adjust a bit from his days in right. Then Avi Garcia in right field. Then it's Frazier. Anderson back in the lineup with Saladino and Abreu in the infield. Omar Narvaez gets a nod behind the plate. And Carlos Rodon on the hill. He's on for his 18th start. He's 2-8 this year. The ERA 4.67. Opponent's batting average 2.97. That's going to go down as he gets a little more comfortable. And Don Cooper wants him to stay aggressive, especially early in the count, and wants him specifically to use his straight change. The umpires for the game tonight: Mark Wegner behind the plate, Mike Muchlinski is at first, Marty Foster at second, and Mike Winters is at third. And so we're ready to play baseball with Melky and Adam in bright sunshine, and Adam Jones ready to kick it off. So we're ready. So is Jason. Take it away.
Thank you, Steve. You were talking about this earlier. It's a tough time in this ballpark to see the ball with the shadows.
Yeah, I think pitchers are going to have a very easy time of it early, especially if you make pretty good pitches. I don't think that the hitters at this time of day can pick up the spin very well.
The smoke from the fireworks also is providing a little bit of a barrier as Carlos Rodon throws ball number 1 tonight at U.S. Cellular Field to Adam Jones, the 31-year-old center fielder who's 1 for 5 career against Rodon.
One thing you cannot do early. When a pitcher has an advantage, you can't see the spin. If you fall behind, you can't use that slider near as much. You certainly don't want to walk anybody when it's a pitcher's advantage sight-wise.
2-0 flare right-hand side. Abreu's back. Saladino is back, and this is fair. And a double for Jones.
Long way to go for Tyler Saladino, but looked like he had or was going to make the play. I don't know if it's miscommunication with Avi, but Jones hits it off the end of the bat. It's slicing down the right field line. Tyler comes over. He's measuring this one. He thinks he's got it. Then he just misses it. Goes as a 2-base hit. And an ominous way to start this one.
If you will recall, that is how Carlos's last start began, at least result-wise. It was a harder hit double, and it was to left field, but it was a double nonetheless from Brian Dozier. He came around to score for the Twins back on the 31st of July on a Robbie Grossman RBI single, the next batter.
And we'll see if Scope can hit the ball to the right side or if he's even going to try. Anderson playing up the middle.
Tim was fading back with the pitch into his, at least close to his regular shortstop position, ball 1.
Well, the fact that Anderson is holding him close means that they believe Scope is going to try to hit it to the right side.
In the air, left center field. Eaton on the run, the slide, and he can't make the play. First and third, nobody out.
Base hit. Good diving effort by Adam Eaton, but this ball also hit off the end of the bat, and there's not a whole lot on it. So Adam on the run. Even if he corrals that baseball, he'd have trapped it anyway. The runners at the corners, nobody out.
For Manny Machado, whose thunderous double to right field in the third yesterday brought in a couple of runs. That power the opposite way from the 24-year-old Machado.
He took that ball off the plate because his job is to drive in runs. First straight change of the night, and that's something that Don Cooper wants to see a lot more out of Carlos Rodon.
He's throwing about a third fewer changeups this year from last year.
And not really a good thing because he needs that third pitch. He's got a couple of very good sliders, one to get me over, the other the wipeout slider, but to make that wipeout slider effective you have to be ahead. He was behind a Jones. He's now behind a Machado.
Scope at first, Jones at third. 2-0. Turns to 3-0. Well, we know the Orioles can hit home runs, as we told you. 163, the most in the majors, also the 6th best batting average in baseball, above 260 as a team.
The Orioles this year probably are going to extend that streak. 4 straight years they hit over 200 home runs. They get lots of power up and down this lineup.
Strike 2 for Machado on the inside corner. Where does he go on 3-2?
Well, he's going to go the fastball in, it appears.
Got him swinging, strike 3.
There's a chance of, you want the fastball in, you miss your spot, but the stuff is so good, you get a very good hitter to swing through it. Narvaez wants it inside. He gets it away with a little late life, and Machado was just overpowered with that one.
'99th strikeout for Carlos. First and third, 1 out for the home run leader in the majors, Mark Trumbo.
That was a good hard slider. That's his put away slider, 89 miles an hour. Tries to throw it what's called the back foot slider. Throws it low and into the right hand hitter. It looks like a fastball all the way, especially at that velocity, and then by the time you go out to try to get it, it disappears.
2 strikes on Trumbo, who's really been battered by left-handers this year. He's only hitting 189, though he's a right-hander against left-handed pitching. Just a spectacular day for baseball here at U.S. Cellular Field.
81 degrees at game time. The wind blowing in.
1-2 on Trumbo with Jones at third, Scope at first. You find a cloud in that sky. I dare you. .100 according to our Xfinity pitch tracks and the radar gun.
The radar gun is very lively tonight.
Got him swinging, 2 down. Carlos, back-to-back punch outs.
Good slider. That's the same pitch he swung at the first time. Threw it in about the same spot. And now he's got to deal with the man that the Orioles got back in a trade from Tampa Bay, Steve Pearce, who was a good hitter for them. Hit the ball very well in Tampa Bay, and they're hoping, as his specialty is hitting against left-handers, they're hoping that keeps up.
He's hit .364 off of left-handers this season. 33-year-old who came up through the Pirates organization. Second tour with Baltimore, as you said, just like Nolan Reimold, who's coming up in a couple of spots on his second trip with the Orioles. Strike 1.
There's look at Buck Showalter, the Orioles skipper, and a good one.
He's been managing in one way or another, as Pearce did go around. 2 strikes. Been managing since 1985. That was his first minor league season. Buck Showalter.
Buck a little unhappy with Mike Luchlinski, but we told you with this visibility, they're not going to pick up the spin, and I don't think they've seen any of the sliders so far. He came in with the 4th most wins of any Oriole manager ever.
Strike 3. Carlos Rodon strikes out the side. What a retaliation to the first 2 runners reaching. No score after a half inning. put up another big number. Tim Anderson back into the leadoff spot. Adam Eaton, for the second time in his career, hits third ahead of Abreu and Morneau and Frazier. Avi Garcia, 8 driven in his last 10. Narvaez the started catcher, and Saladino back at second.
And the defense in its 4th in the American League. Reimold, Jones, and Pierce in the outfield. Machado, Hardy, Scope, and Davis in the infield. Caleb Joseph with a nod behind the plate. Chris Tillman on the hill. There you look at the numbers. They're spectacular. This is 24th start. 14-3. The ERA 3.46. A whip of 122. That's good. Batting average against is also very good. He came over in the same deal from Seattle that brought them Adam Jones, as well as a few others. For Eric Bedard was a great trade for then the general manager, Andy McPhail. Probably one of the better trades in Baltimore history.
Tim Anderson, the leadoff man for the Sox. And the 28-year-old Tillman misses low for ball number 1.
Tillman used to throw a lot of big curveballs, but he scrapped that because he's throwing a lot of cutters these days, especially cutters in the high 80s. Throwing from almost a stretch position.
A big dude. Could dunk a basketball at age 13.
Yeah, he's a large fellow, 6'5", over 200 pounds. And he can get it up there in the mid-90s. So far he's chosen not to, but we'll see that before too long.
Anderson, a drive left field, well back there, and Tim Anderson has it just off the top of the fence.
That gives you some sort of an idea why Tillman doesn't throw that many curveballs anymore, because that one didn't have a whole lot of break on it. And as it rolled up there, Anderson, welcome back to the lineup, Tim. As you can see, that's a roller, and he was able to measure it all the way. Bidding for his 6th home run, came about 2 feet short. He thinks it's gone. Jones thought it might be gone, but hits off the Wintrust sign, and a good way to start it.
17th extra base hit for Tim Anderson. Now 48 games as a White Sox player.
And normally, when he gets one, he gets more.
Melky shows bunt and takes ball number 1 from Tillman.
Not a bad idea, because Machado is way back at third. Melky's big job, especially against Tillman, who is an excellent pitcher, his job, he's got to get Anderson to third base.
Well, Melky crushed a bucket full of balls last night.
Yeah, he's probably thinking the line drive is not a good game plan, because he hit 4 of them and found 4 defenders. In fact, he found Scope twice. So 0 for 4 with 4 line drives doesn't get you too much.
Two and 0. Anderson at second. There's a strike from Tillman.
There you look at Melky in the last 20. 333, 7 doubles, 9 driven in, 8 scored. He's been the most consistent of all the Sox hitters from both sides of the plate all year long.
I was going to say, you could pick out almost any 20-game span for Melky Cabrera. There'd be something that shines. For this year, in the dirt, 3-1 from Tillman, who's fighting his control against Cabrera.
This is one of the things that really surprised me, because Melky has been so good, and because he's not by any stretch of the imagination a liability in left field. He's got a great arm, and it's very accurate. I'm surprised more teams didn't come to Rick Hahn and want to add Melky for the stretch, because this is a guy that can hit anybody, and he's shown that over the course of his career.
He's also the runaway major league leader in hugs, which will bolster any clubhouse
by a long shot. And there's the Milkman t-shirt. It's probably, well, if it's not our best t-shirt, it's right up there.
It's pretty close.
It's a good one.
Steve Stone t-shirts are at the printer.
Ooh, I don't think so. They're waiting to break that out 2020.
That ball's ripped to right field and fair into the corner. Anderson could backstroke home, and Melky Cabrera has an RBI double for a 1-0 lead.
This was borderline, and this is his cutter. But Melky took it pretty much off the ground, probably ankle high, drills it into the corner, RBI number 51, and a great way to start against a tough pitcher. Tillman rocked by a couple of doubles, and both hit like rockets.
One in, one on, nobody out for Adam Eaton against a reeling right-hander Tillman. Bunt foul. You'd have to imagine that was an idea to bunt for a base hit.
Yeah, but he realizes if he did get it down anywhere where Machado had to field it, Melky was going to scamper into third base.
There is the prospective scamperer at second base, Melky Cabrera.
And now the sun has disappeared, making the visibility pretty good. Melky didn't have any problems. You see no sunshine anywhere.
Fouled away. 0-2. Adam Eaton 0 for 3 career against Tillman. He was 0 for 5 last night in the series opener. Hot hitting Jose Abreu is next. Up high, 1-2 for Eaton. Jose's on his way after a 3 for 5 last night. Home runs in back-to-back games for Abreu. Ball at 2 strikes. Missed inside, 2-2.
There he added a few extra miles an hour on that fastball, got that up to 94. He'd been thrown at 90, 91.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Hit hard right at Hardy at shortstop. And his overhand peg has out number 1. Oh, was smoked too by Adam Eaton. And we have time for our picks to click for tonight. The fans won last night. Tim Anderson goes your way at home, wherever you may be watching. Our crew's got Tyler Saladino. Steve goes completely out of the limb and takes Melky Cabrera. And I've got Sox catcher Omar Narvaez.
I started out very hot with picks to click, but I've been faltering lately because I've gotten away from Melky. A big mistake. I'm back on the Melky bandwagon.
Yeah, dance with the one that took you there, right?
He's been pretty good.
He's driven in a run so far tonight already. Working that gum pretty hard. Second base. Abreu takes a strike.
That was absolutely a perfect pitcher's pitch, and there's no reason for Jose to swing at that until you get deeper in the count. You get a cutter low and away on the outside corner. Got ground ball to the right side written all over it.
Fastball at 93, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Tillman's had a couple of pretty good years, although he was 11-11 last year. 13-14, 16-7, 13-6 back-to-back, with a low ERA of 3.34 in those 2 years.
Good sign of the Sox dugout there that we just saw. Austin Jackson kicking around with Tim Anderson. Austin with the knee issue a couple of months ago.
Yeah, still no projection as to when he's going to come back.
It's a torn meniscus in his left knee. The count runs to 3-1 to Abreu. Well, the first step to coming back is actually physically being there. So that's sign number 1.
then being cleared for baseball activities.
Which includes sunflower seeds, baseball activities.
It is a baseball activity.
In the air and foul. 3-2 on Abreu.
That was one of the rare straight changes that Tillman's going to throw.
There's Justin Morneau, who was part of a rather disputed final play last night. A ball that he felt he fouled off his foot, and our replay suggested that he was right. That was called an out on a ground ball to first. Cracked foul right side. Standing ovation for the fan. Nice play. That ball was absolutely labeled into the stands.
Apparently pretty good protection all the way around. Weren't many openings for that one to fall into.
Melky at second. 3-2, 1 out. Called strike 3 near the inside corner.
Looks like it's going to be a pretty big plate. Is that one, after a steady diet of pitches away, that one hits the glove of Caleb Joseph, and Jose just walks on back.
So 2 out for Justin Morneau. And we told you about that final play from last night, and whether or not the umpires should have talked it over at the very least to try to get the call right among the 4 of them. The play, as you read the rules, was not reviewable. It's part C of the replay review. Fair and foul ball calls can only be reviewed if they're in behind the umpire's set position as the play starts. So anything in front of the umpires, fair or foul, is not reviewable by Major League Baseball's current replay standards. But you felt like maybe they should just talk it over anyway.
Yeah, instead of, well, you don't have to go to New York for it. Just you got 4 guys. If anybody saw it or had a better look at it, apparently they chose not to, much to the dismay of Robin. And certainly Justin Morneau, who was vociferous in his appeal.
He was loud too.
I mean, a hitter knows certainly if it's going to hit off his foot. So we'll take a look at it. Justin said this one was off the right foot.
And his immediate reaction was to not go anywhere. Robin Ventura came out to argue, didn't get the counsel that he preferred from the umpires, and down goes Morneau as Tillman gets out of the jam, but gives up a run. Sox lead 1-0 after 1 tonight. cellular field, whether you're eating a licorice rope or tweeting or whatever you might be doing. Thanks for stopping by.
Great night for baseball
tonight.
No, in fact, I do like those though.
You do?
Not as much as gummy bears, which will come into play later in the game.
What a tease. I mean, people are thinking about, you know what, I'm going to click away for a moment.
How is that going to come into play tonight?
2 strikes on Chris Davis, and down goes the slugging left-hander. Carlos Rodon has struck out 4 consecutive Orioles. We told you briefly last night about the junior RBI team for the White Sox, the ACE program sponsoring in Cincinnati, part of the World Series for the junior RBI team. And they won again this morning. They beat Baltimore 8-5. There's the final 8-10-1, 5-6-4. Ryan Nelson 2 for 3 with a double and a couple knocked in. Christian Carr 2 for 3, and playing right now actually against Detroit as pool play continues in that junior RBI World Series.
They're trying to go after a #1 seed, which would keep them out of going head-to-head with the Dominican Republic, which is always a good thing to do.
It's like in soccer, when you win your group, you don't have to play Italy or Brazil or France in the first round. You get to play Sierra Leone or
I remember him.
Uruguay.
Was that one of the spaghetti westerns?
I think that may have been the Sierra Madre. In the air right side, and foul for J.J. Hardy, the Orioles shortstop, who was 3 for 4 last night.
Good sign in this at bat. The pitch before was a straight change, and J.J. Hardy swung through it. So some deception. It was 86 miles an hour. It was off the plate, but that's what the best straight changes do. You get swings on them.
That was a strike, but not a strike.
That was a strike by plenty. What happened is Omar Narvaez was setting up on the inside part of the plate. A lot of times when a catcher moves across that far, you don't get the pitch, and there was an example of it.
You hear a lot about pitch framing, and there are metrics about it now. You can figure out where somebody statistically stands in baseball and pitch framing.
Yep.
Three and 2 on Hardy. And there's the strikeout. Couple pitches late. Still gets the job done. 5 in a row.
That slider tonight is as close to unhittable as we've seen since toward the end of last year. And he just buries this one down and in. Hardy swinging over the top of it. 5 in a row. Fanned after the leadoff double and single by Scope. And after that, lots of Ks.
Now Nolan Reimold bidding for contact and coming up empty.
Good straight change, and all 5 of these strikeouts have been swinging.
Oh, and 2.
Back-to-back straight changes. If he gets the feel for that one with the other stuff that Carlos has, he's going to win in the high teens, and he's going to do it consistently. He's got a great arm.
As you see on display right there, that ball in the dirt though. 1 and 2. You can see the confidence building in his pace tonight.
Yeah, usually when a pitcher is feeling real good, he wants to work quickly because you get in a rhythm. Then the catcher's job is to keep him in a rhythm. As soon as you catch it, get it back to him, let the pitcher work in that rhythm, and throw a lot of strikes.
Fouled off, still 1 and 2.
That was the thing that the Hall of Famer, multi-Sang Award winner Greg Maddux said. He felt that his catcher's job was to get him the ball within 2 seconds. As soon as he caught it, get it back to Greg, and then Greg will throw it as quickly as possible. And you don't give the hitter a chance to get any rhythm.
Well, we saw a guy at this park for a long time with a number very similar to Carlos Rodon's.
And Mark Burley, who worked as quick as anybody around and didn't shake off a sign. That was the most amazing part of Mark. Whatever the catcher called, he threw.
Shattered bat. Frazier wins a silver in the hurdles and gets out number 3. Send that man to Rio. 1-2-3 in the second inning. 1-0. maneuver.
Here's a couple things you very rarely see. The bat and the ball going at the same player, and a bare hand pickup on the dirt. I mean, Todd had to avoid the bat. Makes a good play. And it's out of the inning. Been a long time since I've seen the bat and the ball almost arrive simultaneously in one spot.
Yeah, that is. Usually the bat goes completely somewhere else. Not that time. And how often do you see it? He avoids a bat and then leads off the next half inning.
That's about every time.
Especially tonight. Frazier 30 home runs, one off Trumbo's major league lead. No White Sox player has ever led the majors in home runs. End of the bat, center field, Adam Jones for round number 1. Let's take this moment to tell you to, if you're a Star Wars fan, take a listen. White Sox are proud to present Star Wars Night at the ballpark Saturday, August 27th, when the White Sox take on the Mariners. First 10,000 fans receive a free Southpaw Star Wars bobblehead. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/Star Wars. It's a nice looking figurine.
Look nicer if Southpaw had his lightsaber.
Yeah, ours in the booth, we have a missing lightsaber here in the booth.
It's saberless.
Well, you know who's to blame for that? The sabermetricians.
Oh, really? You're
Yeah.
going there?
Oh,
Statistical jokes?
the Fangraphs guys took away his weapon. The shortstop, J.J. Hardy. Garcia's out, 2 away.
That took a nice friendly hop at the end and hopped right to Hardy, who's got a very accurate arm. Omar hasn't had a chance to play too often, but when he has, he's done a pretty nice job. And Eleni Tianis is 23 today. She is the daughter of Jimmy Tianis. And we wish her a happy birthday. Jimmy, one of our camera folk. He's been around seemingly forever. I think he's 90.
I don't think he is 90.
Really?
He doesn't look 90.
Close.
85?
Something like that.
The things that would happen if we gave the cameramen the microphones for a day. To center field, Jones is on the case. And there is a very quick inning for Chris Tillman. 1-2-3, the Sox go. It's 1-0 Sox after 2. lead is Carlos Rodon, having struck out 5 in the first 6 outs he owns tonight. Caleb Joseph, the only batter he's not seen, the 9-hitter for Baltimore, on a ground ball to third. No bat to avoid this time for Frazier, and cleanly done for out number 1.
Hey, Chicagoland viewers, it's time for the Subway third inning triple play promotion. Text Subway 3 to 97999 right now. The 300th texter will win a $30 gift card to Subway restaurants in the Chicagoland area. Subway, fresh is what we do.
One down for Adam Jones, who this year became the career RBI leader at Camden Yards, passing Cal Ripken Jr.
Pretty impressive. Anytime you pass Cal Ripken for anything, it's impressive.
There's one place that Cal's not going to be passed for a long, long
consecutive
time.
games played. I think that one is going to stand forever. There's a couple of things that probably nobody will get to. One of them is Cy Young. Nobody's going to win over 500 games again. Games played by Cal Ripken, I don't think anybody's going to get there again.
You don't think there's any way?
Oh, there's a way, but it's not going to happen. Very rarely do you see guys even playing one full season these days, let alone year after year after year as Ripken played. Nah, I think that ship has sailed. You can tuck that one away. Not saying it's impossible, but
ball in the dirt from Rodon.
just a different era of baseball. A lot of times now they give guys days off arbitrarily just because they feel they can play better if they get a day off. And in the years past, it didn't happen so much.
In the air, right field. Avi Garcia circles around it, and there's out number 2. Hey, join us when the White Sox face the Baltimore Orioles tomorrow, 1:10 p.m. First 15,000 fans receive a White Sox water bottle presented by the Village of Bedford Park. Bring your business home to Bedford Park and win big. Visit WhiteSox.com to purchase your tickets today. We on the prize shelf have the Kids Club water bottle, which is available.
A little different, but a water bottle nonetheless.
It's more youthful, has better energy. Ball 1 to Scope, who singled back in the first.
Jonathan's got some pretty good numbers for second baseman.
I mean, he's already crushed his career high in doubles. He's got 5 more than any other season in his career. 29 total to go along with 17 homers.
Last 5, he's been pretty hot, hitting 8th last night and in the 2 spot tonight.
Behind again, 2-2 on Scope.
He was signed by the Orioles as a non-drafted free agent back in 2008. Got to the major leagues in 2013.
And down he goes via the strikeout. Number 6 tonight for Carlos Rodon. First 2 reached, next 9 have not.
right quad, and just when they went into Detroit to play the Tigers, much to the delight of the Tigers. That's the Romeo Orthopedics Injury Report. It's brought to you by Dr. Anthony Romeo Orthopedics. If you have any shoulder or elbow problems, go to RomeoOrthopedics.com or call 312-432-2342. Apparently, the disabled list has not hurt the golf. Yoenis Cespedes, which was one of the latest controversies to come out of New York.
Yeah, and what the Mets said after that is essentially it's very unlikely that he was further injured, that there was any aggravation. Saladino, a drive to left, and this is out of here. Saladino leaves the yard. That was out in a hurry.
He's got some big power. Almost hit one out last night and got that one on a line drive into the bullpen. That's his 6th, 23rd driven in. And that ball was up and out over the plate, and it sets off the fireworks. Looked like a straight change, and it looked awfully good to Tyler.
Big swing by Anderson trying to follow it up, and with that home run, another generous donation for the Alex Stelius family in loving memory of Ursula.
16th home run given up by Tillman in 142 innings. That's not all that bad when you consider the very small ballpark he pitches in.
Ball and a strike from Tillman to Anderson. 2-1. Back to the Mets thing for a moment. The thing they said is, hey, look, we don't think he re-aggravated the injury, Cespedes, with the golfing, but it's sure not a good look.
No, a bad visual when you go on the DL and you can't play, which is what you're getting paid to do, and you go out golfing. And he has an interesting contract because he can ask out after the first year. So for him, he's got a lot of incentive to come back. They don't know when he will be back, but Detroit, after we left, knowing that the Mets were coming in and Cespedes going on the disabled list almost immediately, knew that they were going to play that series in Detroit, a 3-game series, without facing probably the most damaging of the Mets hitters.
For a team that struggled to hit the ball quite a bit this year. 3-2 on Anderson. Tyler Saladino.
Well, nothing makes the hitting coach happier than when one of your pupils hits one out of the park.
Three and two. Up and in. Hey, Robin said
there you go.
Pregame that it was unlikely to happen just today, but Tim Anderson takes another walk.
That's his 3rd walk this year. But again, you know, you come up from the minor leagues, you've done a whole lot to get to the major leagues, and you've been successful everywhere you've gone. There's no reason to change anybody, because first thing you know, you change someone and they've never learned how to hit that way. You're trying to change them in the major leagues, which is something you don't want to do. Let him get his feet wet here. Let him get that first year under his belt. Then you can make some changes if you need them. If you don't need them, you don't do anything.
Well, he was behind in that count and ran it back full in order to take the walk as Melky down 0-1.
4 out of 6 in stolen bases, and you got one team here that doesn't run, and it's not the Sox. It's the Orioles. They swipe 14 bases all year.
Well, they are choosing common thieves. They have only attempted 23 stolen bases overall.
Yeah, I think Buck Showalter's philosophy is pretty much, with all the bangers he has in the lineup, why give up an out if you don't have to? And when you look up and down their lineup and you see the power they have and the power they've had in recent vintage, you can see why they don't run.
I mean, we showed you the pregame, home run numbers since 2012. They have 4 of the top 20 guys in Major League Baseball.
And Buck has just decided that he's going to let his guys swing away every chance they get. Doesn't do too much fancy. He will use the hit and run on occasion. but very rarely finds the occasion to steal. Buck has gotten to be a better manager as he's moved along. He was with the Yankees. He was with the Diamondbacks. And it seemed like every place that he went, they won right when he left.
It's probably more of a correlation issue than a
Yeah, I don't think it is anything that Buck did.
Three-time manager of the year.
Yeah, he's a good one. He's been a good one for a long time. He also was with Texas. That was after Arizona. And then found his way to Baltimore in 2010.
On the ground, Hardy. Scope. The turn for 2.
Silva's not the fastest of second basemen on the pivot, but he has one of the stronger arms in the league, so it really helps him. And he gets the ball and he just fires it across. And Hardy's very dependable. He juggled that for just an instant before getting it to him with plenty of time to turn the pair.
We talk about all the time knowing who the runner is, knowing where the runners are. And that was very calmly done for a team that made 4 errors last night in the opener.
And they've got a good defense, so that was a rare night for the Orioles.
Adam Eaton, a bouncing ball to short in the first inning. He is 0 for 1 tonight. Tillman off the mark, 2-0. 15 times this year, Chris Tillman, out of 23 starts, has thrown at least 100 pitches.
He's been dependable.
Adam Eaton, a line drive to right. 2-out single for Eaton.
Tillman's been dependable and resilient.
Sunday, August 28th is Husky Day at U.S. Cellular Field. When you purchase tickets using the Northern Illinois University ticket code, fans will receive a ticket voucher good for one-of-a-kind White Sox NIU co-branded hat. Northern Illinois University, your future, our focus. Purchase your tickets today at whitesox.com/NIU. Butch Husky will also be here pending approval.
Boy, those folks that remember Mets history will remember that reference.
Strike 1 to Jose Abreu.
Butch was a large fellow, I recall.
Yeah, first of all, the name sounded like it.
Yes.
You don't see too many guys that are 5'2" and 115 named Butch Husky. Oh, fouled off of Abreu, 0-2.
Tillman worked him away the entire at bat last time before freezing him on an inside fastball. This time he's quickly jumped on top. Jose bidding for his 3rd home run in as many games. Joseph looking over in the dugout to see if they might want something away, thinking 0-2 is a good pitch to run for Eaton.
He holds, and it's up and out.
That would have been a good pitch to throw for Joseph.
Sox got a run in the first and one more here in the third on the Saladino home run. Throw on Eaton, who's back in.
Normally, as we've seen in this series, Adam Jones plays one of the more shallow center fields. That's what enabled him to put away the line drive by Narvaez to end the 2nd inning. But with Jose up, he's respecting that power somewhat. He's back a little bit deeper, as you see the percentages for Adam Eaton and stolen bases.
To third, tough hop, and Machado cleanly takes care of out number 3. Home run for Tyler Saladino, and the Sox double their lead at 2-zip after 3. today to hand out to you for Sox Math.
I think this is the best thing we have.
You
Those
do?
are the gummy bears. They're delightful. And of course the gnome you can't have, but you can have just about everything else except for the dog. And well, it's kind of nice actually. You got the two different shirts, which is just terrific. You got Chris Sale, Adam Eaton. There you see it. A little bit tighter, and so is Jason.
Careful with that one. Machado, Trumbo, and Pierce will bat here in the fourth. Nice job though by the interior decorator here with the Sale and Eaton shirts. That was well done by Jordan, our
Yes.
stage manager, an all-around wonderful guy.
Did a terrific job of this one.
2-0 on Manny Machado, who struck out in the first, part of 5 straight strikeouts for Carlos Rodon. Right field, long run for Avi, and foul into the corner.
One of the things you don't want to see from Carlos is to abandon the straight change. It was a very good pitch for him early. He's given a lot of these Oriole hitters, and it's a very powerful lineup. He's given them a different look. He's given them a third pitch to worry about, and he's got a big fastball tonight. So this, as far as stuff-wise, is about as good as we've seen from Carlos in a long time.
Good sign too, being off that DL stint for a couple of weeks and a rehab appearance as well.
I think that probably actually helped him out, rejuvenate that arm somewhat. He's still very young in his career, and you get a whole lot of starts consecutively, and you start to see the stuff deteriorate somewhat.
From Machado. When you hear about Orioles third baseman, Manny Machado is on the list, but Cal Ripken Jr. is the guy, the third and shortstop over the course of his career. And you look at the numbers comparing Machado to Ripken, they're very close in the first, 500 plus games.
550 games, and they are very close, and we will show them to you.
3-2. Fair ball, Frazier on the go for out number 1. Here's what we're talking about. First 550 games, Machado 285, Ripken 293. More doubles for Manny Machado, and very close in the home runs.
Another thing they had in common was Machado can play shortstop. There's no doubt about that. They play him at third base, where he's terrific. Ripken was a third baseman, and the one guy that felt he could play shortstop was Earl Weaver, the Hall of Fame manager at the time, and he moved him to short, and he was excellent at that. Good enough certainly to make it to the Hall of Fame. Didn't have the greatest range, didn't have to, because he positioned so well, and he had a pitching staff that was able to execute into what at the time were the primitive defensive charts that they had, primitive by today's standards. But when you have a pitching staff that can execute, you can set your defense and pretty much know that the hitters are going to hit into exactly where you believe they are. Worked pretty well for Cal.
You think there's anything to the added information out there leading to defenders not being as instinctive as they used to be?
No, I think they're absolutely as good. I think the arms might be a little stronger. I think you got bigger guys playing at the positions. I mean, the players are just bigger, stronger, faster, and quicker than they've ever been in the history of our game. So it only makes sense that they would be a little bit better defensively. And the charts help.
Under Frazier's glove, Trumbo with a well-struck single on the ground.
I want to ask you about your feeling, and one of the other things that happened, and this didn't exactly come out of nowhere, but Yasiel Puig was sent to the minor leagues by the Dodgers. Now, that took a few people by surprise. Puig certainly one of them, but his numbers have steadily declined since he's come into the league. He had that big first part of the first year. He had a good first year overall and then declined since then. What do you make of that, and what do you think of the Dodgers move?
It's upstairs to Pierce. It's interesting. I mean, you look at the numbers, like you said, the first month and a half, he was gangbusters. But it seems, and I was only there for 2 days. I was out in LA about a month and a half ago for a Dodger game, and talking to the coaching staff as this one gets away and Trumbo races for second. It seemed as though the Dodgers coaching staff felt like he was maybe a misinterpreted kind of guy. Maybe the personality issues were somewhat overblown. Now, other folks would completely disagree, but it didn't strike me, talking to some Dodgers coaches, that he was as much of a malcontent as we'd heard. And you saw the first report was that he stormed off. That wasn't true.
No.
He was just sent to AAA, was told not to come to the ballpark.
And you've got 3 days to report, by the way.
Yeah, 72 hours.
He took all 3 of them, which is what a lot of guys do when they get sent down, especially when they get sent down for the first time.
Yeah, it's the joke is always that it's much quicker to get back to the majors than it is to go to AAA. But, you know, sometimes you need thoughts and moments to collect yourself, right?
I think it's a case of immaturity, and I think what the Dodgers did, more than just getting his game back to where they wanted to be, was giving him a wake-up call.
In the air left field off Pierce's bat, and Melky is out number 2.
So I do know that if the Dodgers decide to put him on the trading block, there'll be a whole lot of people interested in him. I know there was some rumors that the Sox might have been interested. There was some feelings that the Dodgers might want to move him in a big deal if it came down to a starting pitcher that they desperately need and probably still do. But I think, and I want to explain to the fans, that the deals aren't done. Now you just have to have waivers on players, and there will be some substantial trades still made. It's just that you could trade them before without getting waivers, and everybody could go anywhere, and you didn't have to consult anybody except for guys with no trade clauses in their contracts. And now you'll find some big contracts that guys have that slide through waivers. You'll find that the deals are still going to be made. I anticipate some blockbusters still coming
big names
down.
You still think?
Yeah, I still do.
There was a minor trade the Braves dealt to the Marlins, Hunter Cervenka, to try and help the bullpen, but I mean, that's not a big name. In order to clear waivers, everybody just needs to say, I don't want your contract.
That's pretty much what it is. It's usually a loaded contract that they don't want to take on, maybe multi-year, sometimes huge numbers for this particular year, but very rarely does that happen. And you slide them through waivers, and everybody, by the way, everybody is put on waivers.
There's no harm the first time you pull them back, and
they're called revocable waivers, and you can put them on waivers. Someone claims them, you pull them back, and you say, okay, let's make a deal. If you want him, let me know what you want him for, and we'll try to come to an accommodation. If not, then you just pull him back and you don't lose him.
3-0. It's in for a strike on Davis. Well, the Dodgers, Bud Norris just got hurt.
Yep.
And Rich Hill is still unavailable with remnants of a blister.
They got him in a trade with Oakland, and he still can't go to the Hill.
3-2 on Davis.
He will swing through a lot of high fastballs and a lot of low sliders. You got your choice depending on what you feel you can get over the plate. He's got 150 strikeouts.
Just inside. That is walk number 60 to lead the team as well for Davis. 2 on, 2 out. The Dodgers have had 26 players on the disabled list already this year.
Did make an announcement, however, that probably makes Dodger fans very happy. They anticipate Clayton Kershaw coming back for September. Now they can anticipate that. Back problems are tricky. You never really know. But they're sitting there 2 games in back of the Giants. And in the American League Central, Detroit comes into play today. 2.5 games in back of Cleveland. Cleveland won their game this afternoon against the Yankees. Corey Kluber pitching that ball game. They beat the Yankees 5-2 in New York.
Took a comeback. Yankees had the first lead in that game. And with the loss, they dropped to 55 up and 55 down through 110. 1-1 for J.J. Hardy.
Here's what it looks like in the Central. After this very short homestand, we'll be on the way to Kansas City. They come into action tonight. A game in back of the Sox. So for the first time tonight, Carlos showing some signs of being wild. He very rarely will walk left-handers, and didn't want to walk Davis to get to Hardy.
25 pitch inning for Carlos. Right center field, Eaton on the move, and it bounces on a hop over the wall.
Well, there's a break.
They're going to send Davis back to third.
Because he scores easily if that ball stays in the park, and now Don Cooper is going to come out.
They get the run with Trumbo. Davis back to third, and Hardy with the RBI double.
That fastball was up and out over the plate, and Hardy drives in his 26th. It was really set up the hitter before, because Carlos had only walked 2 of 87 left-hand hitters this season. And so when you're among the league's best, he was third in baseball in fewest walks to left-hand hitters. That was a costly walk to Davis. You figure the lefty-lefty advantage, and as easily as he struck him out the first time up. But he lost him, and then Hardy hopped one out of the park.
Yeah, it was 3 pitches. See you later for Davis the first time. Second and third, 2 out for Reimold. Two 2-1 Sox with the lead. And a ball low for Nolan Reimold. You notice anything that's changed for Carlos?
No, I haven't.
You let me know if you do.
But I know he's using a whole lot of pitches. No, he looks exactly the same, except he's not throwing over the plate. Coming at a good part of the plate. You should be careful with Reimold, because the man on deck, Caleb Joseph, has been to bat 102 times this year and does not have a run batted in.
Anderson. Inning over. Orioles get one on the RBI double from Hardy. Sox still lead 2-1 after 3.5. Correct answer wins a prize in the prize shelf. Ozzie Guillen's White Sox jersey number. Subtract Eaton's triple total starting tonight. Multiply the number of foul poles at U.S. Cellular Field. Please get that one right. And then add the number of letters in the state in which the Sox all-time home run leader was born. The letters in the state. 2-1 Sox with the lead. And Justin Morneau takes ball one from Chris Tillman. California native in his own right, out of Fountain Valley High School. Here's another look at Sox math for tonight. First correct answer wins a prize off the prize shelf. Hashtag Sox math on the Twitters. You can win some gummy bears from media relations intern Hannah.
By the way, they're quality gummy bears.
You've tested them?
No, I haven't. I just I had some of the last batch. I have every indication that these are the same.
3-0 on Morneau. Tillman right down the chute for strike one. 7-game hit streak for Morneau, 9 off the current major league lead, and 321 over that stretch. Left-hand side, Machado and Reimold. Ooh, Manny Machado might have had a play at that and kind of waved at it.
I think it's an easier angle, really, from a shortstop as opposed to a third baseman, because that play, you have to make the over-the-shoulder catch and you don't have any angle whatsoever. You can see him looking, and then number one, he wants to avoid Nolan Reimold. Last thing you want to do was collide with him, so he looked at him, and then I think he lost track of the baseball, figured I'll put my glove out just in case it might fall in.
Yeah, it's not to say he should have made the play,
no,
but
it's been a tough play.
Yeah. Three and two on Morneau. Called strike three, and Xfinity Pitch Track says it was not a strike, and Justin Morneau may have had enough of this crew after 2 days.
This was a backdoor cutter that was supposed to be over the outside corner, but you see a very subtle shift of the glove by Caleb Joseph. And talking with some good catchers, instead of moving the glove, they just slant their wrist, and that's pretty much what he did. And it looked like it hit the glove. Actually, it was about 3 inches off the outside corner. That one well received by Joseph.
Not terribly well received by the former Minnesota Twin.
A little unhappy with that call, and you can understand why.
I would think that if you took individual series and evaluated umpires based on individual series, this would not be a top 10 strike zone series so far.
No, but it's early yet.
It's getting late early. 2-0 on Frazier. Again, I mean, balls coming in 93, 98, 99. You know, it's not an easy job, but sometimes they bunch up. And they're a rough series out there. Breaking ball off the plate, 3-1 for Frazier.
They get the severe shift on with Scope on the third base side of second. Everybody playing very deep on the left side.
Three and two to Todd. Southpaw having some fun behind the plate. Hello. Now Southpaw wins the waving contest.
And with a good sense to be behind the screen.
That one's back toward us. What was that about good sense to be behind the screen?
We don't have a screen. That one hit right at the top of the booth. That came back with some urgency.
Alacrity.
Yeah, that would have made a dent.
That was your side.
I know.
3-2 for Frazier. Smoked. Oh, Tillman behind the back for out number 2. Nifty.
Well, normally he would be saving a base hit, but this time Scope was up the middle. I don't think it was behind the back as much. It was off the posterior. So I think that'll leave a mark. We'll watch it again. It's pretty tough to be a good defender when your back is to the plate. And he was hit in the bunnage area.
You've been reading those medical books again.
That is a medical term, yes.
Tough season for this battery. Joseph and Tillman.
Joseph's had a little tougher go of it, though. He took a foul ball off the cup. It hit him awkwardly, shall we say, and he had to have surgery.
In the air, center field. Jones has room for out number 3. 2-1 Sox with the lead. Chris Sale has gotten bigger in recent days.
Log on to WGNTV.com and click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner for the latest stats and information. Sox Game Zone is powered by Dodd Camera, which is family owned for 125 years, handling all your photographic needs. Dodd Camera, where the focus is on them. Well, actually, it's on you, but it'll be on them for the time being because they're very cute and enjoying the concession stands.
What are those that they were eating? Everlasting gobstoppers?
You got me.
You've never been to Wonka's factory before?
No.
In the air, first base side, Abreu on the hunt for out number 1 against Caleb Joseph. Here's your Sox math answer for tonight. Ozzie Guillen's number was 13. Adam Eaton had 7 triples and still does. That makes 6. 2 foul poles here at U.S. Cellular Field, not a trick question. And then the number of letters in the state in which the White Sox all-time home run leader was born. Frank Thomas was born in Georgia. That's 7 letters. The answer is 19. And Mike Ganello was first in. Congratulations to Mike. You win something off the prize shelf, except for the gnome and a dog. Congratulations.
Otherwise, the choice is yours. We leave it entirely up to you. Except for the non-replaceable aspect of it.
Frazier waits for it, claims it. 2 down.
Looks like Adam Jones might have hurt himself.
Yeah.
He gets jammed badly. And maybe turning out of the box, he hurt himself.
He also may have just not known where the ball was going.
Very well be. It was that's fairly deep into the kitchen, as they say. He broke the bat. Others has got in on a couple of the Orioles hitters tonight and shattered bats.
Center field, Eaton. That was very quick. 5 pitches. See you later. 4.5 deep. 2-1 Sox at U.S. Cellular Field.
Now get access to over 45,000 fee-free ATMs nationwide.
Sounds nice. That's a lot of fee-free ATMs.
A lot.
Narvaez, Saladino, Anderson to bat. Before last year for Omar Narvaez, the most games he'd played in a season in his minor league career was 47. Played 98 last year. And if folks are wondering why Deontay Navarro is playing maybe 6 out of 7 days, that's got to be part of the reason, is that Narvaez just hasn't had a full season under his belt. He's a newcomer. He's 24 years old. Those are some low numbers in terms of games played.
On the bright side, he can't get worn out.
It's true. Fresh legs.
On the other side, you certainly want to get familiar with each and every one of your starting pitchers. You certainly, and equally as importantly, want to know each and every one of the hitters, and you have to pay attention. If you're going to be a catcher at any level as he draws the walk, you want to make sure that you notice when a hitter is making an adjustment, and that's why you'll see some catchers taking a little extra time and maybe taking a look at the hitter's feet and where he's setting up. Is he closer than he was last time? Is he further away from the plate than he was last time? So if pitchers are not going to be observant, the catcher has to be, because he's going to be the guy that's in control of just about everything.
But how does that play out, though? I mean, you just sit down and talk to the pitcher for a while, or did you have to catch him to know the stuff?
You got to catch him.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and they do that in the bullpen, and they do that in spring training if they're around for spring training. You get a feeling what the pitcher likes. Where's his comfort pitch? Where does he like to throw it? Is the arm side strong or glove side strong? And I'll explain what that means. If your arm side's strong, you're a right-hand pitcher, you feel you can throw the ball inside to a right-hander and away to the left-hander consistently about 85% of the time. If your glove side's strong, then you can throw away to the right-hander and into the lefty 85%, and depending on how good your control is, then the weak side is going to be somewhat less.
Close play. Narvaez is back.
And it's really up to the catchers to kind of know that. The pitcher will tell you, but it's one thing to shake off a pitch. It's another thing to accept the pitch and consistently shake off location. That takes a long time. And most pitchers want to work as quickly as they possibly can. There are exceptions to that, which we've seen.
6 in a row out of the zone for Tillman to start the 5th inning. Saladino last time up gave the Sox their 2nd run.
He got one up in the zone, looked like a high change, and our 4th drive of the game is a line drive rocket, the 6th home run of the year for Tyler. Brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com.
A pretty good pitch to hit for Saladino here after the meeting. 6 straight balls.
A figure of fastball. And
there it was.
Right down the middle. Here it is.
Two balls and a strike for Saladino. Narvaez at first, Anderson to follow. Sox got a run in the first on a Melky Cabrera RBI double, then Saladino's homer, and the lead stands at 2-1. Foul back. Orioles came in tied with Toronto for first in the AL East. Orioles a game ahead in the loss column.
And Toronto leading 2-0. That game in the bottom of the 5th at Kansas City. But the Royals have the bases full of Royals.
Machado at third, Scope at second. That is a double play. And well done by the Orioles.
Yeah, there weren't many interior pairs that could make a play like that. Machado ranging to his left, gets rid of it quickly, and Scope has a cannon for an arm. This ball is not hit hard, but what happens to a right-hand hitter when he gets jammed with a pitch like that? He gets turned around in the batter's box. He loses a step and a half, and that was a step and a half that got him double.
How about Machado? So fluidly catch, throw, one motion.
That's why he's one of the best in the business, and has been since he came in the league.
J.J. Hardy refuses to get eaten up by that hot shot. And the inning's over after a leadoff walk, double play, and a ground out. 2-1 Sox after 5. Same logo.
Yeah, but it's the bear that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of teddy bears.
You're a teddy bear guy?
Yeah, I am.
Were you also a Roosevelt fan?
Yes, I was, as a matter of fact.
Which Roosevelt?
Teddy a bit more than Franklin. And I also liked Roosevelt Greer when he played.
You did?
Yeah.
What about Roosevelt Bowie?
Roosevelt Brown also.
2-0. 2-1 on Machado.
Machado was the #1 pick of these Orioles. Came up through their system. Didn't take him all that long, and he's got outstanding skills. He was the 3rd player chosen overall in 2010. So still very young, in the 5th year of his career.
Slash to right of center, and Eaton has to track it down on a hop. Orioles with 5 hits now tonight.
This ball hit awfully hard, and Machado hits the ball away from him very well. We saw him last night when he hit a 2-run double in the 3rd inning. He took that pitch out away off the plate and drove it into right center field. So he'll go exactly where the ball is pitched.
Inside to Trumbo, who a couple of years ago was in that deal involving Adam Eaton. Tyler Skaggs as well, who just made his major league debut for the Angels.
Tyler Skaggs has been on the verge of being a very good pitcher, but physically he's broken down a number of times. He's got a good arm, lots of potential, but we'll see if his body holds up. If it does, he's got a chance to be pretty good.
Well, they've had enough arm trouble with pitchers this year with Tropiano and Haney.
Garrett Richards. Yeah, it's been a really tough year for the Angels. One of those years you write off and you hope that you can find somebody out of that farm system, but the farm system has not been all that productive.
Two and one for Trumbo as Rodon wraps on the door of 90 pitches.
That straight change wasn't a good one. He wants to keep that low and away, just out of the strike zone from Trumbo. He doesn't want to keep that changeup inside.
Right field, it stays in the park. Avi, one down. Saturday, August 27th, come see the White Sox take on the Seattle Mariners at 6:10 p.m. All fans are invited to stay for a spectacular postgame fireworks show presented by Magellan Corporation. For tickets, call 866-SOX-GAME or visit whitesox.com. Beautiful fireworks display last night after the series opener. More fireworks coming up for you and your sweetheart or whomever you may want to take to the ball game.
Hoping for a night very similar to this. This is about as good as it gets.
That's a strike on Pierce. Oh, we had Roosevelt in the discussion earlier. Now Pierce.
That's some great jokes from Franklin's era.
Evergreen jokes, the Franklin Pierce one-liners. Ball and a strike from Rodon. Anderson tried to go to the forehand and it squeezes through. Machado thought about chancing it and would have been likely DOA at third. It's an error against Anderson. 2 on, 1 out.
Well, there's an example of Tim trying to do the right thing, because early he would backhand all of these. This time he tried to get in front of it, but unfortunately by the time he got his hands down, that ball scooted through his legs, and it brings Don Cooper out to have a talk with Carlos Rodon.
Hey, while we have a moment, let's play America's fastest growing sensation, shall we?
Well, it depends.
It's Sticks and Stone, where we quiz you on your career. Hey,
another left-hand hitter.
How did Ken Singleton do against you?
Well, look, Ken Singleton was a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
And again, he was a teammate of mine. And he and Eddie Murray probably were the best 3 and 4 switch hitters, maybe in the history of the game, back to back. So I figure, I think I did okay against him only because he had a longer stroke than most of the little fleas like Al Bumbry. Sorry, Al, but you were a flea. So I'll say I did okay. At least I hope so. Anyway, Kenny broadcasts now for the New York Yankees. A wonderful man. And he hit very well behind me. I enjoyed him hitting behind me more than facing him because left-hand hitters gave me a problem. She's engrossed in this.
Oh, yeah, rapt at attention. Ball 1 to Davis, who walked last time, struck out the first time. Little fleas.
Yeah. Little fleas just flick at the ball and drop them in somewhere in front of the outfielders.
2-0 on Davis. .95 pitches. 2 on, 1 out. Dangerous hitter, Davis. Takes ball 3.
And Don Cooper calling the bullpen to get loosened up. These are pitches that, with a double play, obviously wouldn't have been made. But no double play, and you have to make them.
Called a strike. 3-1 to Davis.
You certainly don't want to throw the next one in the same spot, because Davis loves the ball down. Matt Albers loosening up in a hurry.
Former Oriole getting ready. 3-1. Outside by a hair. Bases loaded. 1 out for the O's in the 6th. All right, here's the answer. How you did against Ken Singleton. Let us see. Singleton v. Stone. 261. You didn't do so bad.
No home runs. No, I didn't think I did. I thought I did pretty well because he had a very long stroke.
His on-base percentage was pretty strong against you. 8 walks. You just liked him that much? You said, Kenny, go ahead.
He had a good eye.
That's high and tight. Ball 1 to Hardy.
Actually, he got me during my wild period.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Short window.
Wild period before I became his teammate.
Ball and a strike on Hardy. Force out everywhere. Bases loaded. Machado, Pierce, Davis in a 1-run game.
Hardy's grounded into 9 double plays this year, 224 at bats.
That, according to Xfinity Pitch Tracks, was a strike, but again the catch involved a lunge.
Yeah, if you're setting up inside and the pitcher throws it outside, catcher has a long way to go, and more times than not you're not going to get the benefit of a close pitch. But that was a good one.
Tag to right. Garcia is on it. Machado tags. Pierce does as well. This game is tied on the sacrifice fly from J.J. Hardy.
So Hardy gets the job done. It's an unearned run, but a run nonetheless. That's the 3rd sacrifice fly of the year. J.J. Hardy's had a good series. It's the 2nd run he's driven in this ball game, where they have only 2.
4 hits already in the series. 3 RBIs, including yesterday's RBI single in the 8th. Fastball. Ball and a strike on Reimold. 2 big pitch innings for Rodon, over 20. Will they get a run is the question.
A league average of 27%. The Orioles have played it at least one. 29%.
make that lower. Reibold strikes out. First K for Carlos since the third. 2-2 tie.
An official White Sox debit card only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/White Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC.
We have a tie ball game, 2-2. Sox led 2-0. The Orioles have scratched across a run in the fourth and the sixth. And now the Sox turn in the home sixth with Melky Cabrera, then Eaton and Abreu. And ball one from Tillman. Chris Tillman out of Fountain Valley High School in California, the same high school that brought Hollywood Michelle Pfeiffer. Catwoman, among other things.
One of them. Nobody will ever replace Julie Newmar as Catwoman.
What about Eartha Kitt?
I think that she was a lovely Catwoman, but Julie Newmar was the one. As Jacob Turner starts throwing.
1-2 for Melky. Game 3 of this series will be at 1:10 tomorrow. Dylan Bundy, very talented young right-hander, against James Shields.
Both Shields and Bundy thrown very well of recent vintage. They've been waiting for Bundy for a long time. There's another guy with a multi-million-dollar arm that has been hurt, but when healthy, he's got at times overwhelming stuff.
Fouled away again. Steve, can you read those letters behind home plate?
Yes.
From this distance?
Sure.
Can we move them farther back?
Reminding you to call before you dig?
Yeah. Well, looks a little bit like an eye chart, doesn't it?
No, it's a normal FEMSA.
Thanks for playing. It's outside, 2-2 on Melky Cabrera. Which one's better, 1 or 2? 2-2. In the air right side and arching out of play.
Pretty nice crowd here today.
Yeah.
I'm sure a whole lot of walk-ups.
Beautiful night for baseball. Beautiful night for most things. A lot of those Sox pullovers. Giveaways tonight. Big chopper foul.
Melky trying to stay alive on the 8th pitch of the at bat. It almost found a nice, safe place to land, but just on the other side of the line.
Nice play.
Well, there's a very happy young lady.
Melky kicks up some dirt and singles through the 5.5 hole.
Wasn't a whole lot of room between Machado and Hardy, but Melky was able to find it. So a good 9-pitch at bat. He reaches out. This is the backdoor cutter and hits it in a perfect spot. See how close they were together, and he still eased it into left field.
Melky, his 2 hits tonight have been on very low pitches. So Eaton with a runner at first, nobody out, checks his swing, and it's a strike anyway. 0-1. Machado's playing in at third, just in case. In case Eaton tries to move Melky over with a bunt. He does not. It's 0-2.
Well, before Robin put Adam into the third spot, he just said, look, he's always been wanting to hit third. In his heart, he is a third place hitter, so we'll see what he can do in giving him another opportunity here tonight.
Strike 3, 4th punch out for Tillman. 1 away. Join us for a children-only pregame autograph session tomorrow. Fans that purchase this special ticket pack can participate in an exclusive autograph session with select members of the White Sox. To purchase, visit whitesox.com/autographs. Shouldn't it matter less where you are just numerically in the lineup than who you're behind and who you're around?
There's a couple of different spots with different responsibilities, and usually they're the top 2. Now, traditionally, people will tell you your best hitter should be the 3rd hitter. Your most powerful hitter should be the 4th hitter. The 2nd spot in the batting order has the most responsibility because you either have to pull it or bunt it or push it or do a number of different things. Sometimes you have to hit down in the count. If you've got a base stealer as a number 1 hitter, he gets on base. You got to take more pitches to allow him to steal. So the 2nd spot has more responsibility. In the 1st spot, you're trying to get on base. But after that, your 5th hitter ideally should be a run producer. And in the lineups today, especially in the American League with a designated hitter, the 6th place hitter should be a run producer.
But as you're saying that, I mean, if you have a leadoff hitter who can run, then that changes what the 2 guy can do.
Yeah.
It's based on
what he has to do, sure.
Yeah. Ball and a strike for Abreu. 1-2. I mean, part of it is just the simple fact that if you're 1, 2, or 3, you're going to get more at bats than 7, 8, 9.
You're also going to get it at bat in the 1st inning where most pitchers are the most vulnerable they'll be. So you want to get that 3rd place hitter to bat. Obviously, your 1 and 2 are going to hit anyway, but the difference in 3 and 4 is that 4th hitter doesn't necessarily come to bat in the 1st inning.
1-2. Another foul ball. I mean, we've seen even just in the American League this year, Carlos Santana, one of the guys that is not your typical leadoff hitter in stature, in speed skill, but he takes so many pitches and so many walks that's worked out well for the Indians. Tip foul.
Well, look, these days the number 1 hitter is completely different than in years past, only in that you wanted your on base guy, your 370 to 390 on base percentage guy to hit leadoff. Now you're seeing guys like Ian Kinsler leading off. He's a run producer. He's a guy who can hit the ball out of the park, doesn't take too many walks, And he can steal a bag or two for you. But at 34, he's not doing that quite as much as he once did.
Outside 2-2. You flip their lineup over. The Tigers, you have Iglesias, then Kinsler. So, you know, at points during the game, you're going to be batting in whatever spot it might be.
I mean, once you lead off, that's pretty much it. You lead off the ball game, and after that, you can hit anywhere.
2-2. Chopped foul into the Sox dugout, back out.
Pretty good location for that one because he had worked him a steady diet of most everything away, and then came way in with that one.
Pitch number 8, Tillman. 2, Abreu with Cabrera at first. 1 out. Line foul.
He got that off-speed pitch down and got around a little too quickly, sending Joseph to the mound to have a talk with him. He's at the 95 pitch mark, but he's a big, strong young man who's seemingly getting better with every passing year. He's had some very good years. Seattle gave up a whole lot of talent for Eric Bedard.
Quite often you see those a lot of guys for one guy trade end up biting you in the backside. Just ask Mike Ditka.
You give the whole draft class for Ricky Williams.
2-2. Fouled away again, and the one negative there was that Ricky Williams, who was an introvert in the first place, had nobody to hang out with. There were no other rookies. Lengthy affair between Abreu and Tillman.
So he hit double figures with this pitch, and it looks like it's going to be a curveball.
In the dirt, checked his swing. He did not go around.
Joseph did a nice job of smothering that one. That curveball could have easily gotten away.
Pitch number 11, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Melky at first, 1 out. On the ground, Machado. Out at second, and a double play. That's going to be challenged.
Yeah, I think he's safe at second, but I think, let's see if Melky's okay. It looked to me like he got there ahead of the throw, and I think Robin's going to want to take a look at it. Well, first of all, Melky is okay. He thinks that he got there, and by the eye chart, looked to me like he did also. I think he's safe at second.
Well, there's no cloud of dirt, so here's a look at it.
Boy, it's really close.
That's very close.
Yeah, could be got him. By that angle, it looked like he got him on eyelash ahead of the sliding Melky.
It's got to be in the pocket of the glove.
And I don't think they're going to challenge it.
Double play, inning over.
This was a really encouraging performance. Carlos went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, 1 of them earned on 5 hits with a couple of walks and 7 strikeouts, and he threw it as well as we've seen him throw it in some time. So exactly what Don Cooper was talking about with him, wanting to stay aggressive, mix in the straight change, which he did a whole lot early. It worked well, and on for the 5th time is Jacob Turner with a high ERA.
25-year-old right-hander gets strike 2.
Nate Jones throwing in the pen.
Liner foul left side.
Nice 1-hop play by our ball guy.
There's Nate Jones, just in case you didn't believe Steve.
There he is. Looks exactly like him.
1-2. Check swing. Narvaez frantically calls for the appeal and does not get strike 3.
It's a good thing about that particular inquiry is you don't get a limited amount of appealing. Well, that was right on top of the pitch that was called a strike earlier, and it was not called a strike this time.
It's been a transient strike zone the last 2 nights both ways.
That was the 3rd pitch. You see the 6th pitch right on top.
Bouncer toward first and through. Joseph is on. White Sox fans, grab White Sox seats with the StubHub app. We take the price and location of seats and show you which tickets give you the best deals. So get the StubHub app today. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Chicago White Sox. 1 on, nobody out for Adam Jones, who has become a leadoff hitter this year. And Buck Showalter said after the game last night, look, Adam has kind of taken the bullet for our team. We haven't had a leadoff hitter. He's changed his approach somewhat, and it's worked out well for us, and we appreciate that from him.
He's a guy that can drive in a whole lot of runs, and that was pulled amazingly far. I don't believe I've seen a right-hand hitter pull the ball like that. I mean, he rocketed it into the back of the dugout. You'll see a left-hander do that, but you won't see a right-hander do it. That's unbelievable. I mean, the guys on the bench, they just, again, you can't be prepared for that because a right-hander getting around that quickly. Wait a second.
You really did that, is what he's saying.
That doesn't happen. He did that time.
Herb Schneider went into self-protect mode down the steps.
Yeah. I'll protect you, boys, but let me get out of here first.
High in the sky, left field side. Anderson quickly out there, and Tim does the moonwalk for out number 1.
I think Melky taking a look at the young man and realizing that Tim has got all kinds of range, but Melky didn't see it. Melky is saying with the visibility right now, he didn't see it. So Tim Anderson had to go out that far. He stayed right with it and eventually made the tumbling catch. This is a tough play. You got the wind, which is a factor. He's way out there calling for it, and Melky late to pick it up. Fortunately, Tim does make the play.
1 out, 1 on. The former basketball player looked like he took a charge there. Got spilled by the baseball. Jones on that pop-up. There's strike 1. Caleb Joseph was at second base. I mean, that'd be 2 on, nobody out in a big spot. Tim Anderson saves the out. Two strikes on Scope, who has been so far this year one of the best contact men on balls in the strike zone this year. They calculate percentage of swings at balls in the zone. He's at 82%. Very selective and picks right. He went after one out of the zone that time and gets burned for it. Strike three. Turner with the second out of the 7th inning.
And here comes Robin. I think that he's gotten a couple of outs out of Jacob Turner, and he doesn't want to face Manny Machado. In this situation with Jacob Turner, he'd rather face him with Nate Jones. So he tries to check his swing. He can't. And out goes Jacob Turner. He got 2 outs. He leaves Joseph at first base. In comes Nate Jones, and we'll step out and be back after these messages. Joseph at first. He's out for the 51st time. He's 4-2 with a 2.40 ERA. Opponent's hitting just 195 against him, and he's got to face a tough man, Manny Machado, who singled and scored last inning.
Strike one to Machado, who's become one of the best players in baseball.
In just about every aspect of the game.
Outside, ball and a strike. Machado singled and scored last inning. The sac fly by J.J. Hardy tied the game at 2 as we stand here in the 7th. He was all fouled up by that ball near the inside corner, 1-2.
Yeah, that was pretty much a break for Nate, because that slider was supposed to be outside and it backed up and stayed over the inside part of the plate. So hitting .353 over the last 4, which is pretty good.
Anderson, high hop. Nicely done by Tim Anderson. Inning over, stretch time. We're tied at 2.
Cleveland won their game earlier. We told you that. Cubs shut out Oakland behind Jake Arrieta. Detroit leading their game against the Mets 6-3. Kansas City has taken a 4-2 lead over Toronto. And you got some West Coast games later on. The Dodgers shutting out Boston. San Francisco leading Washington 4-0. St. Louis losing to Atlanta.
Did you see what happened in the Milwaukee-Arizona game yesterday with Orlando Arcia's first career major league hit?
No.
Gets the hit. Segura at second wants to throw the ball into the dugout to make sure Arcia gets the ball. He forgets to call time before he throws the ball into the dugout. Arcia ends up at third.
That's a no good deed goes unpunished scenario.
Yeah, how about it? Justin Morneau here in the 7th inning takes ball number 1 from Tillman, who's coerced 3 double plays tonight from the Sox.
He's fallen behind a guy that can take one out of here in a hurry. Although no contact so far for Justin.
Pitch number 101. Ooh, he wanted that badly. 2-1.
He got his pitch, the fastball, right down the middle. But swung through it. The Oriole bullpen is loosening up.
That ball is foul for Morneau. 2-2. Well, saw Zach Britton last night, and the preference of all opponents of Zach Britton is that he doesn't pitch.
No, it's Michael Givens who's got really good stuff. But there are very few guys, if any, that have the stuff of Zach Britton. He's 34 for 34 in saves and getting to the point where nobody's even getting a hit off him.
Ball stayed up on Tillman as well. Fouled off. 2-2.
All Givens is 8-1. 3.44 ERA. Well, Tillman's not going to go the distance. The Orioles didn't have a complete game last year, and they don't have one this year.
In the dirt, 3-2.
A radical departure of Orioles staffs of yore, or mine. But somewhat surprising with 6+ innings. Tillman has thrown it pretty well also. A couple of walks, 4 strikeouts, and 2 earnings.
3-2. Borderline pitch. Fouled away. Still 3-2.
Wise choice not to leave that in the hands of Mark Wegner. He decided he'd reach out and spoil it. Todd Frazier waiting patiently in the on-deck circle.
Tillman 3-2. Pitch number 8 on the way. Into right field, falling quickly and down in front of Pierce for a leadoff single.
That looked like a straight change that he threw on the outside corner, and Justin this time reaches out, able to dump it in front of Pierce. They're playing very deep in the outfield on the corners. Reimold and Pierce. Pierce in right, Reimold in left. Jones, more times than not, plays the shallowest of all the outfielders.
Well, on Morneau, that's his 16th start with the Sox. It's pretty clear that there's some left in the tank for Justin Morneau.
He's at 3 home runs. He's driven in 8. It's not so bad when you consider how much time he had off this year after the arm surgery.
Strike called. Ball and a strike on Frazier, who's 0 for 2. A fly out to center and a ground ball to the pitcher Tillman. Ended up on the ground eventually.
After bouncing off his anatomy.
1-2. That was at a point when the Orioles were in arrears in this game, 2-1. Smoke to center field. 2 on, nobody out for the Sox here in the 7th.
That pitch was probably out of the strike zone. Very similar to what he did last time, only this time he took it into center and out pops Buck Showalter, and that usually means, yes, he's made the call to the pen. So he gave Tillman a shot at his 15th. He's not going to get it tonight. He's got to try to avoid his 4th loss, as the Sox have a golden opportunity here in the 7th. So as Givens comes in and Tillman goes out, we'll step out and be back after these messages.
Offer can join us in the morning to take selfies with select White Sox players. To purchase, please visit whitesox.com/selfie Sunday. O's to the pen, Steve.
Michael Givens, and boy, did the Orioles make the wise choice. They converted him into a pitcher in 2013. And he's had some year this year. 8-1, ERA just under 3.5, on for the 43rd time. Opponent's hitting .231. He's got a good sinker, throws a lot of ground balls. There you can see 60 strikeouts in 49 2/3. This is a very good and very deep Oriole bullpen.
Outstanding year in his debut year last year as a pitcher for the O's. As you see for the Sox on the bottom of your screen, J.B. Shuck is in as a pinch runner for Justin Morneau here in the 7th. If you're wondering about a possible bunt from Avi Garcia here, his next sacrifice bunt will be his first sacrifice bunt of his career.
Yeah, that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Nice save by Joseph.
Almost didn't have to, as Givens tried his best to throw it to the screen. He's made 3 wild pitches this year. The Orioles are a team with good stuff, and they've made 47 wild pitches, 9 of them by Zach Britton. Doesn't seem to affect him, though, because nobody scores against him.
Line to right field by Avi Garcia. Bases loaded as Pierce goes tumbling on the throw, and it nearly kicks away from Joseph. Bases loaded, nobody out.
I'm not sure why Pierce decided he was going to throw that ball most of the way in, because there was no chance for J.B. Shuck. This ball's hit awfully hard. Pierce charges it well, and then he decides that he's going to throw it all the way to the plate. Interesting. Not a real good play because it's a tough ball to handle, but he gets away with it after the tumble.
So now, a 24-year-old with 1 career Major League RBI can be the hero. Narvaez takes a strike.
And Scope and Hardy just looked in the dugout, and Buck Showalter wants him in. They were back at double play depth originally.
0-2 on Omar Narvaez.
There's not many times where a pitcher will just go after a strikeout. This is one of those opportunities where you want no contact. Chuck, Frazier, Garcia, third, second, and first.
13th Major League at bat was earlier. This is number 14 for Narvaez, and he lasers it foul.
Run expectancy with the bases loaded, no outs. Sox have played at least 1 run 77% of the time. That's below league average.
All it takes is 1 for the lead. 0-2 from Gibbons. Up and out. Morneau singled. Frazier singled. Garcia singled. Shuck at third as a pinch runner is the lead run. Close pitch. 2-2.
For 3 years in the Orioles system, he was a position player.
Fouled off. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Narvaez will see a 7th pitch. Gibbons, former 2nd-round pick, drafted 5 slots ahead of Nolan Arenado of the Rockies. And now Joseph wants to talk to him. Fans clapping it up, trying to help a run across in a 2-2 tie. A lot of this at bat has been away. Stays out there, still 2-2.
Normally, if you're a side armor, and especially a converted side armor, you're going to be arm side strong, which is away to the left-hand hitters. And the only time you would come in would be for a breaking ball.
2-2. Outside, 3 balls, 2 strikes. No vacancy on the bases. 3-2. In the air, third base side. Machado at the line. Foul ball. Called a foul ball down the left field side.
Robin wants him to take a look at it. We'll see Machado. He reaches out. That ball hits off the back of his glove.
This angle will help. Oh boy.
Interesting call, because it's not where the ball falls. It hit off his glove. If he touched it in foul territory, it's a foul ball.
It's going to be tough angle-wise.
Well, I'm not sure if it exactly hit off the glove. It looks like it hit on the outside of the chalk line.
So if it doesn't touch the glove and it hits the chalk line, that's a hit.
Then it's a fair ball, yeah.
So New York has it now. Very close.
If it doesn't hit the glove, that's a fair ball. If it hits the glove and they say when it hit the glove, it was in foul territory, then it's a foul ball. It's a really tough call to make. The call was by Mike Winters.
If it doesn't hit the glove, it's a fair ball. If it does hit the glove, the call probably stands. Would you agree?
Yes. And it doesn't look like it hit the glove from that angle.
We talked about it last night. If you can't see definitively, you can't overturn the call. In this case, there's nothing left for definitive proof if the ball doesn't hit the glove and hits the line. That's just a fair ball QED.
Unfortunately, it was called on the field. It was called foul.
Here's a close-up look at Machado's glove. Ooh.
Unless that ticked one of the laces, it didn't look like he touched it. This one, unlike some of the other calls, could take a while.
The Sox won't be able to get as much out of it as they would have real time.
No, normally,
I mean,
if it's a fair ball, then you're going to get 2 runs for sure.
You'll get only the 1 in this case.
That'd be fine.
It'd be the lead.
Be the lead.
This is one of those plays, because the fair foul call is behind the umpire's starting set position. It is reviewable, as opposed to the play last night on Morneau and the foul ball off his shoe.
I hope it doesn't fall into that category of because there's no definitive proof. If it was called a fair ball on the field, it would stay fair. It was called a foul ball on the field. Now we'll have to see.
I'm looking for clear and convincing evidence of that being a fair ball. I mean, the one piece of good news for the Sox is the ball hits the line.
Yeah, it does. It's the outside of the line.
Even though that's the case, the burden of proof still goes on. The video being clear and convincing that the ball did not hit the glove, because the call on the field. And it is a fair ball. They get a run. The Sox lead 3-2.
Now Buck Showalter comes out, and he's not the happiest of skippers, but it looked like the proper call. He just wants an explanation from Mike Winters.
It was anticlimactic, but it's a run, and it's the lead, and it's 3-2.
And the base is still loaded with nobody out. And the second major league run driven in by Omar Narvaez.
How many guys have driven in their second major league run on an instant replay overturned ball?
I don't know, but it came at the right time.
Shuck scores. Frazier to third, Garcia to second, Narvaez at first.
That run charge to Tillman.
His line is not yet officially closed. Frazier at third is his property. And Saladino, who homered against Tillman in the third, with a chance to detonate this ball game. Infield still in.
Well, Gibbons is trying to throw under the screen, but Joseph is not allowing him to.
Fouled away, 1-1. 4 singles, 1 run, and a big chance for the Sox with the bases still loaded. One and two.
With the bases loaded for Tyler, it's been very good. He just likes to see a fly ball here.
Up with a fastball, one away. It's up to Tim Anderson, who's doubled, he's scored, he's walked, and he's grounded out to short. Five home runs in his less than 2-month major league career. 0-1.
That slider, the equivalent of Nate Jones, it was at 89 miles an hour.
That one at 90.
The last year he played as a position player, he was 3rd in the league in stolen bases. Apparently just couldn't swing the bat well enough.
1-2. He's got Anderson where he'd like to have him. Tim trying to battle back. One-two. And a drop in the crowd sends it back onto the field of play.
This is where Todd Frazier's got to come in and take an aggressive secondary lead, because Machado's not coming that close to the bag. And you figure Gibbons might want to go to that slider once again. That's an easy one. Looks like a fastball is what he called for.
Upstairs, 2-2. A lot of choices to get at least one more across for the Sox here. Productive out still available, 2-2. Now 3-2. Melky on deck. Three balls, 2 strikes. Gibbons to Anderson. Tim sprays it foul.
Gibbons has walked 26 in 50 innings. It's a fairly high total.
Payoff pitch. Right down the middle. Anderson, a drive right field. Pierce is back there. It is foul in the corner.
Let's watch it again. It's awfully close, but it is foul. I mean, awfully close.
If a portion of the crater kicks the line, can you get a roundup on it?
To me, like that first angle was a definitive angle, and although you would love to have seen it fall on the line, that one just missed.
Pitch number 9, Gibbons to Anderson. And he got him on a slider, spinning away.
Ninth pitch of the at-bat, a good battle by Anderson, and then he really expands his zone. That's a tight-breaking slider. He's never seen it before. Really tough pitch to hit, and he didn't get a piece.
It's up to Melky Cabrera, bases loaded, nobody out, then 2 strikeouts for Gibbons. Strike called. Frazier, Garcia, Narvaez. Hammered foul, 0-2.
Brewer with the bases loaded for Melky has been very good. Don't know the resolution of this at bat, but you wouldn't want to have anybody else on this team up right now over Melky.
One of the best contact hitters in baseball, down 0-2. And he goes down swinging. 3 straight strikeouts for Givens. Sox do get a run and take the lead 3-2 after 7.
Lead 3-2. They've out hit the Orioles 9-6. Sox have made the only error of the game. Carlos Rodon was brilliant tonight. 1 earned run, 2 overall, 7 strikeouts in 6 innings. And Tyler Saladino with a solo home run in the 3rd. Get the Honda you love at the Honda Summer Clearance Event now at your Honda dealers.
Trumbo first here in the 8th as the Orioles averted further trouble with 3 straight strikeouts from Givens, of Saladino, Anderson, and Cabrera to close out the 7th. This one fouled back toward us. Trouble with being up a run against the Orioles is they lead the majors in home runs.
And Van Forley loosening up. No, this team's got a lot of thunder.
Two strikes. Time called.
Trumbo with 119 strikeouts this year. 120.
The tote board rolls over, 1 away. Time for a game that we call 6 Degrees of Luke Appling. We get Luke to one of the players in our game. He played with Eddie Lopat for the Sox in 1946, who played with Brooks Robinson in the '55 Orioles. Dennis Martinez in '77 was teammates with Brooks Robinson. Jim Thome and Dennis Martinez played together with the Indians. Thome and J.J. Hardy, Twins teammates in 2010. There you have it. In the air to left, Melky, out number 2.
Here's hit that one right on the button, but fortunately right at Melky. So quickly, 2 up, 2 down.
For Davis, who has walked twice and struck out once. Still awaiting his first ball in play this evening. Nate Jones came in for the final out in the 7th inning and got a ground ball from Manny Machado. A bullet strike. Boy, when Nate Jones is on, it is lively and dangerous.
And to right hand, well, he's going to throw a slider to here. And that one didn't do what he wanted it to do, but he got away with it. There is David Robertson. So Nate, with one more out, will have done his job and gotten the game to David Robertson. And it'll be the bottom part of the order if he can get by Chris Davis.
Two strikes. Down low. The Orioles do have a pretty loaded bench in terms of power tonight. Pedro Alvarez, who homered twice and has 6 homers his last 5 games, is a possible option in the 9th. That's strike 3. Narvaez in pursuit, and Omar has no play at first.
You can go a long time without seeing that. And now we've seen it twice in as many days. And that goes to pass ball. I'm not sure exactly why it hit the dirt, but Jose got hurt on the hop at first base. And he's still down. And we'll watch this. And that's why he was still down. It is changed to a wild pitch, but it's not changed for Jose Abreu.
There are better ways to spend your night. Let's
singing
say
soprano in the choir
with MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. All the details. One on, 2 out. And there is strike 1 to J.J. Hardy, who's driven in both runs tonight for the Orioles. There's a block by Narvaez. 1 ball, 1 strike. Three outs for this Baltimore side. Not a grand idea considering the depth of this lineup. And as you said, I mean, you get that out, you're 7, 8, and 9 in the 9th. Instead, you're forced to very likely face Adam Jones at the least at the top of the card.
And you've got Kim, a left-hander. Weeder's a switch hitter. And you talked about Alvarez, who's a big hitter.
High in the sky. Garcia scoots into position for the final out. Davis stranded. Sox looking for insurance. They lead 3-2 tonight.
6 innings, 5 hits, just 1 earned run, 2 overall with a couple of walks and 7 strikeouts. Wrap your hands around the official Italian beef of the Chicago White Sox at one of the 19 Bona locations. And Vance Worley comes into the game, and he's been very good also, as have a whole lot of those guys out of the pen. It's 2-1 ERA.
Growing. Eaton. Gone.
A blast for Adam Eaton, his 9th. 39 driven in. Playing the number 3 hitter to perfection, and he drilled that one. Vance Worley delivers one in the middle of the plate, and Adam Eaton delivers one way back in right field.
And this pitch is inside off of Abreu. And Jose is waiting at the plate. Now he's been signaled over to first. Hit by pitch.
Take another look at it. That got him. Joseph was looking over in the dugout like he wanted to see a replay of it, but that got him on the right wrist.
Rough inning for Jose Abreu.
It is that.
Got popped on the ball to first. And then a hit on the wrist as Shuck bats and takes ball number 1. JB came in as a pinch runner in the 7th inning and came around to score. The easiest task for a pinch runner you could imagine, scoring on a review that was overturned. Fouled off a Shuck. Two homers tonight for the Sox. Saladino in the 3rd, a solo homer. Eaton here in the 8th.
And for Jose, that's the 11th time he's been hit. Couple behind Adam Eaton.
Bunt popped up. Machado. 1 down.
Check out the White Sox baseball blog at WGNTV.com, sponsored by Jeff Vukovich, your local nationwide insurance agent serving the area for 38 years. To join the nation, visit jeffvuk.com, because Nationwide is on your side.
1 out, 1 on for Frazier, who singled in the 7th. Sox trying to split the first 2 in this series. They lost 7-5 last night. Hardy at short. Scope the pivot. That'll do for the Sox here in the 8th inning. But Adam Eaton's power gives the Sox a 2-run lead going into the 9th.
Eaton with a needed insurance run. Gets one and juices it. 9th home run of the year. A 2-run lead in the bank. Speed Replay is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. And David Robertson comes into this looking for a save.
He'll face Nolan Reimold first. And Reimold takes strike number 1. Scheduled Reimold, Joseph, and Jones.
Kim is in the on-deck circle, so he's going to come out. Contact hitter.
0-2 on Reimold.
David looking for save number 27.
Right field side, foul ground, and no room to roam. Last 4 outings, no runs allowed for David Robertson. Two strikes on the 32-year-old Reimold. Ball in the dirt, 1-2. By the way, great news for that RBI team we talked about for the White Sox. They won again tonight. 12-0 against the Detroit side.
That's really terrific. They've done just a great job. And they got a good shot at the number one seed.
This dispatch from Cincinnati suggests that they are
good.
The number 1 seed with that big win, 12-0. 1-2 still on Reimold. Ball's outside, 2-2 to Reimold. Three and 2 to a pretty selective hitter, Nolan Reimold. That's ball 4, a leadoff walk for the Orioles 8-hitter. Kim was in the on-deck circle, but it does not look like.
No, now that Alvarez represents the tying run, he's going to come up to hit.
If you need a base runner, you go with Kim. If you need the tie,
exactly right. You go with the guy that's hit 5 home runs his last 3 games, including 2 last night.
One of those which measured, according to the final StatCast numbers, 452 feet to right field off the railing. So it's Alvarez in a 4-2 game in the 9th. On the ground. Sox get 1. Ball dropped on the transfer by Frazier. Score at 4-5 on the fielder's choice.
Had a shot at a double play. But Tyler, the off balance throw on the fall. It is in the glove and clearly drops out on the transfer. They're not even going to take a look at that.
Well, that eliminates the big weapon, Alvarez. Tying run still up. It's Adam Jones, who does have 21 home runs in the leadoff spot for the Orioles. Strike one.
David slipped off the mound. Like he might have caught a spike. He delivers the ball, good curveball, and then twists himself into a bit of a pretzel before going down.
Drag that back foot. One strike. In the dirt.
What nice stop by Omar Narvaez. Takes you completely out of the double play situation. Puts a runner in scoring position if this one gets by.
Jones doubled to lead off the game. Scope then singled, and the Orioles looked like they were in business. They did not score in that inning, and the Sox have the lead 4-2 right now. Punched foul. Ball and 2 strikes.
Looked like the first inning might have set up the rest of the performance for Carlos Rodon, because in a jam, runners at the corners, nobody out. He strikes out Machado, Trumbo, and Pierce. Gets out of the inning, holds him right there. All the strikeouts swinging. And then he used that as a springboard to one of his better performances.
6 innings, 1 earned run. 1-2 for Jones. Out in front. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Alabama's own David Robertson facing the San Diego native Adam Jones. One and 2, 1 out. Frazier backs up. Saladino turns it. That'll do it. 5-4-3 for the win.
And that backhanded stop by Omar Narvaez set up the double play that ends the ball game, and no more chances for Scope, Machado, or anybody else in this lineup tonight, as the Sox have evened up this series and the season series. Season series evened to 3. David Robertson with his 27th save, and Nate Jones moves his record to 5-2.
With an inning and a third of scoreless baseball behind Carlos Rodon, who went 6. 4-2 the final, and we will wrap it up from U.S. Cellular Field coming up after this.